Hi, today's video is about garlic. I'm going to be doing this year, I'm growing a variety called Marco. What I'm actually having to do here is demonstrate what you do with planting, because I actually planted mine quite a few months ago. I planted it right at the end of November, because normally you want garlic growing over the winter. But it's fairly simple. You end up with getting a bulb or a head of garlic, split it into its individual cloves, and then you just want to pop it into the ground about 2 inches deep, and instructions say about 6 inches apart. They just basically pop the cloves in. I'm not covering those up too much because I'll be digging those up, because this is just a demo. I say I actually planted mine out at the end of November last year. I plant them in a large movable trough, so it's a large trough that has wheels on it, and I normally have garlic and some red onions going over the winter in it. So I get some purchase variety that I get when I'm getting a few of the seeds and things ready for my veg patch. I've not seen anything substantial which says yes or no supermarket ones won't work, so I don't really see why you can't just buy them in the supermarket and plant them. Important to just really have them in some well-drained soil. Make sure you're keeping them weeded as well, and then really you just pretty much leave them over the winter and see how they get on, and I'll show you a few bits of video and some clips of how my crop's been going on this year. So this is my winter trough. It's the thing I use for growing my garlic and onions. Built it probably about 12 years ago. It's still going okay. It's got wheels on because I have it out on the patio, because that's the best place for the sun. But if we've got anyone coming around who want the whole patio area, it's easy just to wheel it off to one side if possible. Sorry if there's a bit of noise in the background. The jet fighters are out doing some practices at the moment, so you might pick those up on the video. So what I'll do is in a minute I'll go and have a closer look. I've got a netting cover that I put over it as well. I normally take that off once it starts to grow a bit, so you can see I've got garlic and onion in there, and I'll go and have a closer look at each of them. Today we'll just focus a little bit on the garlic. So I put these in, I think it was about the 27th or 28th of November, so right at the end of November, and we're now just at the end of March, and you see the garlics are growing quite nicely. Marked them out obviously with them string and things, so that's just helped me just make sure that I plant them out with a bit of space. Again, I perhaps grow them closer than it's recommended, but it works for me, and I got a decent crop of them last year. And what I've also done is I have a lot of garden stakes, so I've gone and put one in alongside each red onion and each garlic. And I've done this now because the bulbs themselves will only just really be starting to grow, so it's easy to just get them in, less chance of actually damaging the onion or the garlic itself. And what I'll actually find as they come through and they start to grow, I'll see that a few of them might need a little bit of support, so I'll fasten them to the stake. And actually what I'll end up doing is I'll probably end up taking quite a few of the stakes out as I come through sort of June, July-ish, and using them elsewhere in the garden. But over on this side are the garlic. And one thing I did lose, a few garlics right at the far end actually died off. What I wasn't very good at really in the last sort of 2 months really was turning the trough. So the trough was the other way around, and the 3 garlics right at the far end, they just didn't even get to see any sun at all. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to remember to really just come out and turn the trough around now and again, so they all get a fair share of sun. When I planted my garlic in November, I found I'd got some extra garlic left over, so I did a few in these small pots. I've crammed, in most cases, 2 to a pot. And then, because I hadn't been watering them well, because I'd got them in the wrong place in the garden really, I've just got a few getting a little bit of remedial extra water here. So there's just a few extra, potted at the same time as the ones that are in my trough, but just to make sure I used up all the garlic I'd got. Here's some pictures I took last year in my veg patch showing some of my harvest. When it comes to harvesting, I normally wait until the leaves have wilted, and then I simply dig up the garlic bulbs and leave them sitting on top of the soil for a couple of days for the soil to dry. Personally, I then knock off the dry soil and give the garlic bulbs a gentle wash and put them outside again to dry.
Once dry, I hang them up in some netting I have in my garage, along with my red onions. Then later on, when I get round to it, I normally chop or crush each garlic clove and freeze them. I'm sorry to say I used to use small plastic bags, but realised how bad this was for the planet, so I actually now freeze my garlic in an ice cube holder. It does make it easy when cooking, as you simply throw a garlic cube into your cooking straight from the freezer. I've got a specific video covering off some info on storing vegetables. My garlic crop from last year actually saw us through until the beginning of April this year. Anyway, I hope that's all helped. I'll update the video as I go along this year, so remember to check back and see the progress of this year's crop.